Hi, WordCampers. Thank you for joining us for Livin Off the Web, how to set up an offline development area using MAMP and Atom. Our guest today is Bill Weissbard. Bill is an avid WordPress user and a fan for 10 years and has been developing for several years. He's an active member of the WordPress Pasadena group and regularly attends the Santa Clarita WordPress meetup. He has a small agency in Pasadena whose function is websites and promotions for Pilates and dance studios. I'm going to be collecting questions for Bill to answer at the end of his presentation. So please write them in the chat, and I'll be collecting them as we go along. So take it away, Bill.
Well, thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'll tell you, everybody, it's a little bit weird being offline, or online rather. And this is a new experience for me. As you can see, last year I was here at Santa Clarita WordCamp. I'm proud to wear that t-shirt. Makes me feel very comfortable. But what we're here to talk about today is the fear of WordPress itself. WordPress can be very, very scary for people who are just starting out in WordPress, or people who are delving into development, and even to people who have been doing it for a long time, it still can be very frightening. And my goal today is to make it less fearful. Now, I know many of you have websites going, websites live on the web, and maybe you want to try out some new custom code or some new custom feature. And you have this great fear that if you do something, it will break your site. And I can tell you, in no uncertain terms, it will break your site. So what we're going to do here is talk about building an offline development area where you can try things out, get them working, get rid of the conflicts, get the code so it looks right, and then you go and port them up to your live site. So it's basically, this is all about fear mitigation right here and now. The title is Building an Offline Development Environment Using Two Application Programs. One of them is MAMP, which we'll talk about. The other is Atom. And my total goal for you is I hope that you come away with a basic understanding of how these programs relate and how WordPress works at a very basic level. Now, if you saw Amy's talk earlier in the morning, she went over a lot of the same material, but in a lot more detail. I'm going to do much more of an overview. Now, also to help you over here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Can you see my mouse? Cannot see the mouse. Okay. It says, here's my my website is fromthiscentury.com with hyphens in between the words. My email is bill@fromthiscentury.com, or you can use the contact form on the site, and all the slides and resources are available on the site on the tech blog. And there's a post there called Living Off the Web, a step-by-step guide to setting up an offline development environment. Ready to go? Say yes. I can't hear you. Okay, you're on mute. I'm not. Okay. We want to cover the basic reasons to develop on local, as opposed to doing it live on the web. We want to talk about what a local development environment looks like, and I'm going to have to move my my Zoom thing, but what it looks like and how it works. We'll talk about local servers, we'll talk about local editors, and we'll talk a little bit about pushing up to the web. That's a small topic compared to everything else. So on 3, we'll get started. On 2, we'll change the slide. On 1, we're ready to go, and here we go. Okay. So we're going to start with, there are 3 parts to this talk. The first is an overview of the local development environment. The second is a live demo, which we hope works. And then if there's time permitting, I'll take you through a step-by-step guide. If there's no time and you want to pursue this on your own, you can get to the slides, which are the step-by-step guide on my website in the tech blog. And there's screenshots of everything, so you don't have to worry about anything. It's all there. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Why develop on local? In this graphic here, you can see that there are, I'm counting them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plugins. Have you see those? No, it's old school, okay? You want to try out new features. You want to try out plugins. You want to do different things. Maybe you want to write some code and develop some of your own unique features, or you want to build some CSS. You're not sure how it's going to look, and you don't want to screw up your production site. That's really the key. Or you want to build some example sites, maybe for your own edification, or just as a challenge. I tend to do that. Or example sites that you can show to prospective clients and say, well, I did a styling that looks like this, and it worked out well, and I've got these colors, I've got this style, got all those kinds of things. You can do that all offline without having to create new domains and subdomains and all kinds of complications. Do it offline on your computer. And maybe you're just a little bit shy about what you're doing. You don't want people to see it until it's really ready to go. And that's, I think, a good thing. So those are the reasons to develop online. Okay. What does the offline rather development, well, the overall development environment looks like? A local development environment that's on your computer, and the ability to push that up to your host, which could be, I don't know, I use SiteGround, GoDaddy, WordPress.com, Bluehost, Greenhost, HostGator. There's a bunch of them, but those are the host computers. They're really just computers out on the internet. You're going to be working on local, which is your own computer. Okay, here we go. Now, how does this all work? Let's see, at the very top of the flow, you have your browser, and most people use Firefox because of its high performance, or Safari because of its ease of use. Some people use Chrome because it allows you to use a lot of extensions. It also requires that you use a lot of extensions, but it's your choice. You can use any browser you like. That browser is supported by local servers, in particular the Apache server. And the data which is served by the local servers is really the WordPress environment. And of course, further down the chain, you know that you can impact the WordPress environment using your editors, such as your backend editors and your block editors or page builders. And there's other things you can do. So that's the basic overall layout. Let's move on. Okay. We're talking about one particular application here, which you can download, which is called MAMP. And for Windows, it's WAMP. And MAMP stands for Mac, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So MAMP is the program which runs on your local computer. Apache is a web server which it implements, and that serves the browser. So you'll be able to see what you're doing on a browser. MySQL runs the database. As you know, WordPress has two parts. One is database, the other is PHP code. And of course, there's a PHP running environment, a server actually, also in MAMP. So go back to this slide if you ever get confused about the relationship. Here's the way it works in more detail. We have, once again, MAMP is serving the Apache server, which drives data to the browser. But down below is where it gets really interesting. Below, running under MAMP, we have a PHP environment, which is where all the WordPress files run. And you can edit those files using any text editor. If you're doing it on local, you can use Atom. If you're working online, you could do it offline using Atom or any of the other text editors, and then FTP those changes up to your server on the web. But you want to avoid doing that here. You're going to do everything on local using Atom, and that's where you change your files. The other part on the left side of this chart is MySQL. SQL stands for Sequential Query Language. It's a database, like a giant Excel table. Well, it's like a series of like 12 Excel tables. Each one has a table name, just like each page in Excel sheet has a title, and each one has rows and values and columns, and we're just going to be able to pull out one row at a time, depending upon what we need. That's how WordPress works. In order to edit that database, you have to use a program called PHP-MyAdmin, which is really kind of should be called maybe SQL-MyAdmin, but it's not. So just want to say this is as confusing as high school chemistry. Makes no sense, but there it is, PHP-MyAdmin. You hated chemistry, didn't you? Yeah, okay. Me too, and I taught it for 10 years. To build this environment, all you really need is a computer, hopefully a working computer that can get on the web. You need to download MAMP if it's a Mac, or WAMP if it's a PC. It's a free download. There's a MAMP-PRO, which costs like $80, $79 currently. It's a one-time purchase. So you don't have to buy it again until there are a sufficient number of updates, and then you have to buy a new copy for another $79. I bought my copy like 2 years ago, and I use it all the time, and it's just absolutely fine with current computers. The other thing is a text editor. I like to use Atom. I think it's very, very effective. It does everything except give you the ability to print out your code. So if I want to print out code, I'll use Komodo Edit, which is also a free program. It lets me print out the code, and then I can highlight things and write on it and figure it out and make some edits and then go live and put the changes in. So that's basically my environment right there, okay? And when we do the live demo, I'll show you a trick. I know some people have trouble downloading MAMP. I'll show you how to do it so it works. Robin, I know you had this problem, so I'll show you how it works, okay? So that's that, and we're 10 minutes in, okay? MAMP versus MAMP-PRO. You can work on one site at a time. If you want to change sites, you can have multiple sites that you're working on, but you can only have one open at a time, and you've got to switch the path to get from one to the other, and it's manual. And if you're working on just a couple of things, it's absolutely fun. If you want the convenience factors of running multiple sites simultaneously, being able to switch between them with a click, auto-installing WordPress, and there are a ton of other features, then you pay the $79 and you get MAMP-PRO. Honestly, at the beginning, you won't need MAMP-PRO. Give yourself at least a year on MAMP before you need it, okay? I see some nodding going on. Okay, that's good, okay. So let's go through the MAMP setup, because the MAMP setup on non-Pro MAMP is a little bit more complicated. On MAMP-PRO, it's trivial, it's a single button. But on MAMP, you got to do it by hand. So the first thing you do is you create a folder for the WordPress app installation. Use your Finder or your Explorer. Go to an area where you want to put it and create that folder. Now, with MAMP, when you install MAMP, it creates a folder. Well, the MAMP program resides in the applications folder, at least in Macs. And within that, it creates a folder called htdocs. And that's the default folder where you should put your WordPress files. And it really is more convenient to put it there. I've tried putting it elsewhere and getting fancy. It just got confusing. Use their default. It works well. Then you've got to go in and create a database and database user and database privileges. And you do that with the WEBSTART capability of MAMP, and you use PHP-MyAdmin. Many of you have used PHP-MyAdmin. It's exactly the same. It's just another hook to get in there. Okay. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, look at this. How about that? I did it. in the first file, and I wish I had a pointer here, but I don't. In the large window that says applications at the top, you can see that in the MAMP file, applications MAMP, and then in the htdocs folder within MAMP, I created a folder called MAMP test site. And within that, I created a file called index.html because what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is all working. I want to test connectivity. So in that, then I went and I opened up Atom, which is a simple text editor. And in the folder MAMP test site, I created an index.html file. And I wrote a very simple file, which is just an HTML tag, paragraph and H2 tags. Hey, this MAMP test site is alive, yay. I close the tags. That's my whole index file. And let's see, is it alive? Oh, no, first I have to go and I have to point the browser. I have to tell Apache where the site is located. So here I go to my MAMP application, which you see on the left. And up in the top toolbar in blue, you see it says MAMP, and then about MAMP and preferences and services. This is all the stuff in the upper left corner of your computer normally. I'll go to the preference pane of MAMP, and you see that on the right, and you can see a path, which is Macintosh HD, and then you can expand out a bunch of things, and then it says htdocs folder, and then I can't actually see this on my screen because this thing is in the way, but it should say test site, MAMP test site, I think. You see that? Mac HD, htdocs, and then MAMP test site 1. Okay. I'm going to escape from this for a moment. MAMP test site. Okay, I'm going to go back to, how do I go back to my share? First, I'm going to move this guy down out of the way. And now I'm going to go back. Are we still on share? We're good. Okay. So on the right here, you say, it says on my web server tab of the MAMP preferences, select, and I'm going to select the path which points to the MAMP test site. Okay. And I'll click OK. And now I want to see if it's alive. Let's see if it's alive. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, this is what shows up in my browser. Okay. So this is like, I don't know, I'm using Safari or Firefox here, just a little screenshot. Yes, this is a live page. This MAMP test site is alive. Yay. I want you to notice that the browser is pointing to localhost :8888. Very important. That's the port on your computer that MAMP is using to point Apache to the browser. Okay. Now that you know that it's alive, you want to change the name of this file, change it to a text file. You might want to use it later, but you can only have one index file at the top level of any folder because otherwise the browser won't know which one to read, and you want to replace that with WordPress. Okay. All right. Now we got to do the work. Okay. Let's set up WordPress. Download a fresh copy of WordPress from WordPress.org. Show of hands. Who has done that 100 times? Show of hands. Yes. Okay. I see hands going up. 2 hands have gone up in our audience. That's wonderful. Okay. There's 2 hands on one person. I can only see one person. So that's as good as it gets. Copy and paste them into the WordPress files into your target folder, which we just created. Create a database and a database user with all privileges. Don't worry, in the addendum, all this stuff is laid out step by step, and you can get to it off my website. I'm going to change slides now. Part 3. Oh, here's Atom. And all I've done is I went to wp.org. It said get WordPress. I clicked that. It downloaded the WordPress files. I expanded it. It's still in my downloads folder. I selected and copied and pasted all those files and put them right into this applications, htdocs, MAMP test site folder. And now you see the files. There they are in my text editor. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I've got to go and create the database and database users. So I go to my MAMP application again, and you can see I circled the Open WEBSTART page. You click on that, it takes you to PHP-MyAdmin. I'm going to go to PHP-MyAdmin. Oh, I'm not showing you how to do it, but I've done that. And I have the step-by-step instructions for creating the database user, and the privileges. All that's in the addendum. Okay, so trust me on that. Now let's go and let's point MAMP to the target folder, again using web server preferences, web server select. Oh, by the way, every time you change where the where MAMP is pointing the Apache server, you have to enter your password. So that's your regular Mac password. Okay. Point the browser to localhost, go through the WordPress setup, and now your site should be alive. I wonder, let's see, I'm a little scared about this. Yeah, it's alive. Okay. Oh, the silent noise of everyone laughing. My, oh my. Okay. Next, what is the development loop? Okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's talk about the development loop. Every time you set up a WordPress site, create a child theme because you'll regret it later if you don't. So you want to upload a child theme. You want to do your design. You want to develop your site. In the course of that, you will crash your site. You will always crash your site. You will always crash your site. And then you fix it. I see some nodding going on. Yes, you either get the white screen of death or you get a PHP error, something not parsing, right? You got to go fix it. You got to fix up your plugins. One is not compatible with another. One is an old version, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. Once you've done all that, now you're ready to go live, okay? And let's see, time-wise, we're at 20 minutes. I think we're good. Oh yeah, now you want to push it up to the web. Assuming that you have a domain which is hosted on the web, or have created a subdomain, what you'll want to do here is go back to your local environment. And remember, you're running a live WordPress site, except you're running on your own computer. So you can go to your plugins folder, you can add new, you can find duplicator by Snap Creek and download that. And it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to make a copy of your website in a package. And then you FTP that up to your domain, and you can then unpack it and you'll have a live website. I want to make a point here. I want to proselytize everybody, because I've made this mistake 100,000 times. When you're looking at plugins, always look to see if there are a lot of active installations. Now, something like Duplicator, which a lot of people are using, there'll be millions of them. If it's something more specialized, you might see a plugin with 20,000 active installations and another plugin with 300 installations. Unless there's a specific reason to take the other one, take the one that has the most installations rather, because that means people are using it, it works. See if it's tested with the latest or recent version of WordPress. Also very, very important, because if it's been sitting there for 2 years and it hasn't been updated, it will crash your site. Okay. So that's all you need. And I think most of you have used that tool before. It's incredibly useful. Follow their instructions bit by bit. Now, let's see. Are we ready for a demo? Yes, we're ready for a demo. Okay, there's the demo. And in case you didn't know, this graphic in the center of the page is called a demo graphic. Demo graphic? Okay, she'll call me on Tuesday laughing. Okay, great. There you go. Thank you. All right, let's do the demo. I'm going to escape. I wish I could escape, but I don't think I can. And I'm going to get rid of a few things here. Give me a moment to clean up. I can get rid of that. And I think the only things I have open are the presentations. I have a web page. Oh, first and foremost. Are we sharing? Sarah, are we sharing? Yeah, okay. I just want to show you guys really quickly how not to install a MAMP. So I'm just going to get rid of these other things here for a moment. Get rid of my webmail. Who cares? You don't care about me. And I'm going to search on MAMP. And I'm going to go full screen on this. So my browser is now full screen. I want to show you something terrible. I know some people get stuck on this. Here we have MAMP info, downloads. That looks good. Either one should load up. MAMP and MAMP-PRO free download. I'm going to download this, the MAMP. You get both, but you don't. But unless you pay, you don't get the license to use the MAMP-PRO. Okay. And then what happens is you get this pop-up, and there's no way to get out of this pop-up. I know some people struggle with this. I did too. How do you get past that? You saw something go to the download folder, but you don't know how to get to it. Well, the trick is this. Just go up to your browser. You should be able to get to my little buttons to make this smaller. And now I can shrink this a little bit, and I can move it. And now I can get to my downloads folder. And here you can see the MAMP-PRO is downloading, and then you can do all your installation. So some people get caught on that. Not unusual. Hopefully you won't. Okay, we good? We're good. Okay. Let's go back to the real demo now, if we can. I'm going to get rid of Safari. I'm going to quit Safari. Okay. Now, let's go first to Atom. Can everybody see this? Yeah. So I'm in the Atom application. In the HT docs folder I told you about, and I have two folders. One is the MAMP test site. The other is the MAMP test site 2. And first I'm going to go to the MAMP test site. As you can see, I have themes, 2019, 2017, 2016, and so forth, but no child themes, okay? Now, I'm going to go to my MAMP. I'm going to go to my MAMP preferences. And here's that web server tab. And I'm pointing to MAMP test site. I like that. Okay. So now we'll look at the MAMP test site. Now, I have to move things around a little bit to get to them a little better. Pardon me. Give me a second here. Here we go. Now I'm going to go to localhost :8888. And this is just a simple page that I wrote on the test site 1. with an H1 text, an H2 text, and an H3 text. Big deal, okay? Here's my dashboard for that site. And I'm going to go to Appearance, Themes. And as you can see, I have 2017 active, excuse me, 2019, 2017, and 2020. No child theme. Oh no, what am I gonna do? I don't want to do this. This is terrible. Oh no, the world's coming to an end. Oh, that was Tuesday. Here we go. Let's go back to Atom. Okay. Now, down here on MAMP test site 2, oh look, I have these child themes called Blank Stare. So now I want to see what they look like. I'm going to go back to my MAMP. I'm going to go back to Preferences. I'm going to hit Select. And I'm going to change from MAMP test site to MAMP test site 2. Select. That looks good. I'll push OK. Now I'll go back to Safari. Oh, something changed. I have to put in my password. And now I'm going to go here to localhost 8888, which says test site 1. That doesn't sound right. Let me click refresh. It's test site 2. See that in the tab up here? And it looks exactly the same. Now I'm going to go back here to my dashboard. Notice I just have 2 tabs open. This is test user 2, log in. Oh, and look, here's my child theme, Blank Stare. She likes it. Okay, fine. I'm going to activate my Blank Stare. Here it is, Blank Stare. I have several versions of it with different stuff, but I just want the basic one. And now I'm going to refresh the page, I think. And now I'm going to go back to my live site, refresh the page. Oh, look what happened to the H2. It got big, it got purple. Shouldn't say that in mixed company. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna go back and try to find out why. In my MAMP test site 2, I have Blank Stare 2016, which is a child theme. Let's see what it says. The style sheet, I don't want to go into building child themes right now, but I'll just go through a couple of things. One is, you can see if you look at it, the theme name at the top here in the comments is Blank Stare 2016 and some other stuff. And the text domain is Blank Stare. All I've done here is I've added some CSS. The entry content, H2, I made the color purple and I made it 60 points high. I'm gonna make this nope. How do you spell turquoise? Light blue. Now I'm gonna make it blue. Why not? And I'll just hit Control S to save that. And now I'll go back to my Firefox and I'll refresh. And lo and behold, it did change the color. Great. Nice. That's how CSS works. You don't have to spend the time FTPing everything while you're doing this. Okay, we've got 6 minutes, so we're right on schedule. I need to go back to Atom and show you the true power of computer programming. So what we saw was on the MAMP test site, there were themes, but no child theme. On the, excuse me, on MAMP test site 2, we have this child theme, Blank Stare. I'm going to click it once to highlight it. I'm going to right click it. Excuse me 1 second. Oh. talking too much. Right click it, copy that folder, go back up to MAMP test site, themes, right click it, paste. And there it is, blank stare. In fact, it has all its different things. Give me a quick second, okay? All right, so sorry about that. I just haven't been talking, just got too dry. Okay, so all I did was copied and pasted an entire folder from one website to another. And here we have blank stare is sitting in the themes folder inside of WP content for the MAMP test site. Next, let's see if it does anything. Go back to MAMP. Go back to preferences. Go back to select. I want the regular one, the first one, MAMP test site, select that. Say okay. Servers are starting. Light turns green, both lights turn green, that's important. The MySQL server and the Apache server are both green, we're good to go. Okay, and what's gonna happen next? I forgot. Okay, wait, well, no, okay, here we go. Okay, now I'm still gonna look at localhost, but I have to refresh the page. And here I am on test site 1, and H2 text is black and regular. I will go to my back end. And now you see that in test site 1, I have the blank stare. I'm still on test site 2. I have to refresh test site 1, running 2016. I'm going to activate blank stare. There it is, now it's active. And now I'm going to go look at my test site. I'm at my 38-minute mark. There's the H2 text. Oh no, let's go to Atom. Oh no, I want to change. I'm in test site 1, and I'm going to change this to red. And I'm going to change it to, 100. Oh no, I'm going to hit Control S. Let's see what it does. And I have to find Firefox and refresh. And it didn't do it. Let me go back. Atom. Let's make it 60 again, just for the sake of argument. Am I in the right one? I'm in this. I'm in blank stare. Okay. Because I was in the right one. Red, Control S, and test site 1, and there it is, it's red. So that's how easy it is to move code from one site to another, to work offline, and to, make changes. Okay? Can I take one more minute? One more minute. I just want to show you the addendum so you can see that it really is a whole bunch of screenshots of all the things that you need to do to set this up step by step. And these are, of course, available on my website, which is fromthiscentury.com. Tech blog, Living Off the Web. And here are the links to the two presentations, the presentation and the addendum. Okay. Thank you for your time. I hope that was fun. I hope it was usable. Cool.
Oh, thank you so much, Bill. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted. That was great. Thank you. I am definitely going to check this out. If anybody has any questions for Bill, please write them in the chat. We'll wait a couple minutes to see if any roll through. In the meantime, I have a question. I have not used MAMP. I usually use Local by Flywheel, but I'm curious, do you know, like, are there any significant differences between the two? Are you familiar with Local by Flywheel?
I have not used Local by Flywheel. I know some people do. My guess is that on the basic, I assume that there's a basic version and a pro version. My guess is that they're probably very similar with the basic version, and the pro versions are likely to have some very, different features that they're pushing. Like MAMP pushes, one of their features is the ability to send somebody a dynamic URL, so you can actually, someone on another device can view your site live while you're working on it on local. I don't know if Flywheel does that. They might.
Yeah, last I used it, they did, but it was kind of wonky. It wasn't always reliable, but it's been a while.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they're competitors, so they're in the same space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see. Checking here to see if there are any other questions rolling in. A couple more seconds.
Oh. Okay.
How do you update MAMP?
MAMP itself, the baseline version, the free version, you can update just by uploading a new copy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And in fact, I did that recently and it worked fine. It will still point to the same folders. It's still going to point to applications, HT, docs. So nothing really changes except their software when you do that. If you're using the pro version and you find that they've come up with new features that you really want to have, then you need to pay the new fee, another $79. I've been using MAMP-PRO for 2 years, and it has everything I want. They're coming out with a major update, I think, towards the end of this year. So I may or may not get that.
Okay, so you pay a new fee every time there's a new version.
If you want that version.
Right, and then you would re-download that version again.
Yeah, but for the free version, for MAMP, MAMP free version, we just download the fresh copy.
Got it.
Cool. For the pro version, if there are features that you want to use, like maybe your version is 5 years old and it's not keeping up with your computer, and then you want to upgrade, get a new upgrade.
Got it. Thank you.
As opposed to a monthly fee, which is what a lot of other web services charge.
Yeah, that can get expensive.
Yeah.
Any other questions rolling in? Somebody mentioned that WAMP doesn't need a connection. Local by Flywheel needs a good internet connection, but WAMP doesn't. Can you work offline on WAMP?
The answer is absolutely yes. And I didn't know that that was the difference between them.
I didn't know that either.
Remember that the Apache server is pointing to a port on your computer. The Apache server is actually serving your browser through a port on your computer. So as long as your browser is running on your computer, yeah, you can run totally offline. In fact, when I get out of town, I can get to do stuff offline.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're right at the mark. Thank you so much, Bill. That was really informative. I'm looking forward to seeing, what the difference is, and maybe I'll become a MAMP user instead.
Okay. Well, I hope it was useful to everybody, and I hope it maybe help people get over some of their fear of WordPress.